If you've ever been told to just do your Kegels and felt confused, frustrated, or honestly a little defeated when that didn't help at all, this video is for you. Leaking, pressure, pain, urgency, discomfort during sex, these are things a lot of people live with quietly. And most of the time, the advice stops at one place: squeeze more. But here's the truth that rarely gets explained clearly. Kegels are not a universal solution. And for some people, they can actually make symptoms worse. If that sentence makes you pause and think, wait, what? I want you to stay with me. Welcome to Quick Tips. My name is Dominique Gauthier, and I am the owner of Body Mind Fitness, where I am a personal trainer, a registered yoga teacher, a teacher of yoga teachers, and a core and pelvic floor expert who loves working with beginners to fitness spaces. Now, first, I want to say this clearly because it matters. Just because you're peeing yourself doesn't mean that you're stuck like this forever. Pelvic floor symptoms are common, but they are not something you simply have to accept, even though that seems to be what most people think. They're also not a sign that you're broken or weak, lazy, or doing something wrong. What they usually mean is that your body needs a little bit more context than it's been given. And unfortunately, pelvic health has been oversimplified for a long time. Here's where things get interesting and where most people are never properly educated. Pelvic floor symptoms can come from weakness or tension. And to be fully transparent with you, tension is also a sign of weakness. And the tricky part, the symptoms often look exactly the same. Leaking when you're running, jumping, laughing, sneezing, coughing. Urgency, like you suddenly need a bathroom and it has to be right this very moment. Lower back pain, hip pain, painful intercourse, and even just a feeling of pressure or heaviness, down there. All of these can show up when the pelvic floor is underactive, meaning it needs more strength. And all of these can also show up when the pelvic floor is overactive, meaning it's holding too much tension and it can't fully relax. Now, from the outside, these two situations can look identical. So when someone is told to just do more Kegels without understanding which one they're dealing with, we're simply guessing. And to be honest with you, guessing with the pelvic floor is not exactly a great idea unless it's coming from a very educated place, but a lot of times that education piece is missing. Now, I have to say, Kegels aren't inherently bad. They're just incomplete advice when given without context. So if your pelvic floor is already tight, constantly braced, or gripping because of stress, posture, breath habits, or even past injury, squeezing more or doing a Kegel can increase your symptoms. It's like telling someone with a clenched jaw to fix it by clenching harder. It doesn't work like that. What the pelvic floor actually needs is balance, the ability to contract and relax, to respond and not stay stuck in one mode. This is why assessment matters, not guessing, not powering through, and not doing what your friend or some random on TikTok told you worked for them once upon a time. Another piece that's often missing from this conversation is that the pelvic floor doesn't work alone. In fact, it works as part of a system known as the core four, which is your transversus abdominis, your deepest layer of abdominal muscles, your diaphragm, which is a breathing muscle, your multifidus, which always reminds me of a braid running up or down the length of the spine, and yes, the pelvic floor, which is actually a variety of different muscles. And they are meant to work together to predict every single movement in your body, from lifting your arm overhead to running, jumping, laughing, sneezing, coughing. And sometimes they just lose their ability to work together to predict whatever movement you're about to do. When we focus on the ABCs of your pelvic health, that's your alignment, your breath, and your deep core, and then we bring it back into how you move through your daily life, that's where change happens. Lying on your back, doing isolated squeezes doesn't reflect real life. Real life is upright. It's carrying groceries. It's coughing. It's laughing. It's running late. It's being able to lift your kids or your grandkids and being able to get up off the floor. Pelvic health is about how your body manages pressure during movement, not just what happens when we're lying still, which is another common misconception. This is exactly why I created my free guide, Why Your Pelvic Floor Issues Might Be Linked to Weak Lower Abs and How to Fix It. And trust me, I'm tired of freebies that kind of just scratch the surface. I'm giving you some of my best advice of making sure your lower abs, which are part of your transversus abdominis, how to get them working in a very efficient way. Because for a lot of people, the missing link between core strength and pelvic health isn't more effort, it's better coordination. Again, your lower abs are your transversus abdominis, and they play a huge role in how that pressure is managed through your core and your pelvic floor. And when they're offline or overworking, the pelvic floor often picks up the slack. The guide walks you through how this system is meant to work in a way that's simple, grounded, and not overwhelming. You can download it for free, absolutely free, using the link in the description. When it comes to pelvic health, we start with alignment. Then we layer on the breath, then core coordination, and only then do we layer in movement. Not because it's fancy, not because it's slow, but because it works. This approach builds support from the inside out so your body knows what to do when life asks you for more. And yes, strength matters, but it's strategic strength, not panic strength. If you're dealing with pelvic floor symptoms, the goal isn't to freak out or shame yourself into fixing it. The goal is education, assessment, and consistency. You don't need to do everything at once. You don't need to squeeze harder. You don't need to live like this forever. You just need better information and a plan that fits how bodies actually work and what your body actually needs. While as a personal trainer and yoga teacher who specializes in pelvic health, I can make very educated guesses. But the best course of action is always to visit your friendly neighborhood pelvic floor physiotherapist or physical therapist, depending where in the world you are tuning in from. Start with curiosity. Start with understanding. And if this helped clarify things for you, download my free guide and take the next step calmly, not desperately. You're not broken. You're not behind, and there is absolutely another way forward. As always, thanks so much for supporting my channel. And if you loved this content, don't forget to click like and subscribe, maybe even share it with a friend. All of these things help more people find my videos. And stay tuned next week as I take you through a movement practice that incorporates yoga with strength training using weights. Until then, thanks so much for being here, and I look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Bye for now.